For number 2, we're trying to graph the parametric equation. So we have our x equation, we have our y equation, and we have our interval. Now this interval is t is greater than or equal to 0. So technically we're going to have t equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, but once we just graph 1, 0, 1, and 2, we should be able to just put an arrow because the shape should be more defined. So I want to plug in 0 into my x equation first, and square root of 0 is 0. Then I want to plug in my 1 into the equation, and square root of 2 times 1 is square root of 2, which is approximately 1.41. And then I want to plug in 2 into my x equation, which this will be square root of 4, which is 2. So then you want to plug in these 3 points into your y equation. So plugging in 0 into the y equation, 4 times 0 is 0, 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 4 is 8. So I'm ready to graph this now. And I'm graphing these points. So I'm graphing just the x and y. So the point 0, 0 is going to be right here. The point 1.414, 1.41 is essentially 1.5, and up at 4 would be like right here. And then 2, 8 would be up here. And that's going to look like that. So again, I put an arrow here because that's going to continue. It's not going to just stop. Okay, so that was part A. Then I want to graph this on the calculator. So my x1 of t is going to be square root of 2t. My y1 t is going to be 4t. For my window, I want my t min to be 0 and my t max to be really something big, because t has to be greater than or equal to 0, so it's actually going to go forever. But I can't put infinity here, so I'm just going to put something big, like I'll put 100. My t step I'm going to put as 0.1, and my x min, I'll make that -8, x max 8, y min -8, y max 8. And if you graph it, it looks the same. Okay, so then for part C, we're trying to convert to the equivalent rectangular form. And mathematically, it's very similar to solving a systems of two equations by the substitution method. So we have our two equations. We have x is equal to square root of 2t, and we have y is equal to 4t. So I'm going to start by isolating for t in my x. So I want to isolate for t. So if you square both sides, you get x squared is equal to 2t. And then if you divide both sides by 2, then t is equal to x squared over 2. So then I want to substitute this in to the other one. So substitute that in, and you'll have y is equal to 4 times x squared over 2. And then I have y is equal to 2 times x squared. So if you were to graph 2x squared, the graph would look similar to this graph here, although it would look a little bit different because there's no restrictions on it. But the shape is the same, at least on that interval.